boys and girls. So today I'm going to read lesson 2 of our new listening and learning insects. This one is called What Makes an Insect an Insect. So there are some vocabulary words first that I'd like to go over. The first one is abdomen. An abdomen is the end part of an insect's body, the body segment that contains the digestive and reproductive structures. The abdomen is the largest body part of most insects. Antennae, sensory appendages or feelers on the heads of insects. Example is the mosquito's feathery antennae provide it with a highly developed sense of smell. And you can see antennae on the ants right there and the grasshoppers. They're very prominent. You can see them. Exoskeletons, the stiff body coverings of insects, providing support and protection. Skeletons on the outside of the body. So that beetle right there, you can see it has a thick exoskeleton to protect it from being squashed. So its skeleton is actually outside its body, not inside like ours. Microscopic refers to something that is too small to be seen without the aid of a microscope. So just think microscope, microscopic. And thorax, the middle part of an insect's body between the head and the abdomen, the body segment that contains the heart and the leg attachments. So where the legs come out is the thorax. So this right here is actually one of the slides that Miss Milk read last time. I want you to look at these insects, think about the vocabulary words I just said, and think about ways they're similar and ways they're different. Okay. So what makes an insect an insect? Do you know what this insect is? Hello, boys and girls. The last time you gathered to learn about insects, you were joined by a fly, an insect with whom you are surely familiar. I am also a very common insect that loves to live in bathtubs or underneath kitchen sinks. My cousin and I often hide during the day, so you may not notice us. Does anyone know what type of insect I am? I am a cockroach. Do you think that I look anything like a fly? There are millions of insects on Earth. At first glance, we may look very different from one another. What are some of those differences? What are some ways we are the same? So again, think of the new vocabulary words we learned. Some insects, like butterflies and grasshoppers, have wings, whereas others, like fleas and microscopic lice, don't. Some eat plants and others eat animals, but all insects have certain features in common. I am here to talk about what makes an insect an insect. Our name should give you a clue. An insect's body is built in sections, or parts, 3 parts to be exact. We'll use one of my friends, the ant, as an example. So I'm sure we've all seen an ant, and we know that there are different parts of an ant. All insects have a head, a thorax, and an abdomen. The head is the center of an insect's senses, but different kinds of insects can have very different looking heads. The thorax is the middle part of the insect's body, and the abdomen is the end of the insect's body, farthest away from the head. What do you notice about the heads of these common insects? Do they look anything like yours? Do they have eyes? Yes, they do, but they're different from your eyes. For one thing, many insects have more than 2 eyes. Take a look at those different kinds of eyes. These ones look kind of similar to ours, but then these ones are crazy. Maybe we'll hear more about those later. Most insects, like this cricket, have big eyes located on the side of their heads. Many insects also have a smaller, simpler eyes on the tops of their heads. Look closely at this cricket's head. Can you see its eyes? Although some insects see better than others, most insects also use other senses to get information about their environments. So what did we say earlier were feelers that they could use? Right, their antennae might actually help them too. Right here we have a bush cricket. Look at this bush cricket. Does it have a mouth? Yes, its mouth is a small hole at the front of its head, surrounded by mouth parts. You and the cricket both use your mouths to taste and eat. Look at the variety of insect mouth parts. Some look like sponges, others look like scissors or needles. An insect's mouth is carefully designed for eating certain types of food. Some insects bite and chew solid foods, others suck liquids, still others pierce their foods. For example, cockroaches like me eat just about anything we can find. We have 2 pairs of jaws for biting, cutting, and chewing food well. Other insects, like the tiny aphids that destroy farmers' crops, have mouthparts that look more like drinking straws. They feed by sucking sap from plant leaves and stems through these tubes. Look how long and sharp this mosquito's mouthpart is. Perfect for piercing the skin of its prey and sucking its blood. Have you ever been bitten by a mosquito? I think we all have. They love to feed on people as well as other animals like horses and birds. Butterflies and bees have long mouthparts for sucking nectar from flowers. And you can think, well, they do suck this nectar from flowers, they also do something else that we learned about when we learned about plants. So now you've seen insect eyes and mouths. What else do you see on the head of these insects? Ah, yes, those long feelers. Those are the insect's antennae, their most important sense organs. Insect antennae come in a variety of shapes and sizes and help insects learn more about their surroundings. So think about what they do to help them feel their surroundings. These jointed feelers, such as those on a cricket, are often covered with tiny bristles and pegs, and some are even quite feathery. Antennae are primarily used for smell and touch, although some can pick up sounds or detect movements in the air. Do you see a nose on this cricket? No. At least, nothing that looks like your nose. Instead of a nose, the cricket uses its antennae to smell. Eyes, mouth, antennae. What else might you expect to find on an insect's head? What other sensory organs do you have on the side of your head? Right, ears. Do you see any ears on this cricket? No, the cricket's ears are located on its legs, attached to the middle section of the cricket's body. What is the middle section of a cricket's body called? If you remember, the middle section is called the thorax. The middle section of an insect's body is called the thorax. The thorax has 3 pairs of jointed legs and usually, but not always, 2 pairs of wings. Notice I said pairs. A pair is 2 of a specific item. If there are 3 pairs of legs, how many legs does an insect have altogether? So it would be 3 times 2. Yes, all insects have 6 legs. Let's take a look at the cricket's thorax and see if we can spot its ears. Look just below its knee joint on the front leg. Do you see a smooth patch of skin? So it's front leg and just below the knee joint. I'm looking right there. That is the cricket's eardrum, which is very important for it as it communicates with other crickets through sound. The cricket's eardrum bends in and out to catch the sound waves so it can communicate with other crickets. That's a crazy place for an ear. Could you imagine if we had ears by our knees? Insect legs vary according to an insect's lifestyle. How do you think the long, muscular back legs of a grasshopper might help it? That's right, its legs are designed for jumping to quickly escape danger. Have you ever seen the fuzzy legs of a honeybee covered with yellow clumps of pollen that it carries back to its hive? And how do you think the backswimmer beetle's pair of long legs help it in its water habitat? Notice the oar-like shape of the legs that it uses for paddling. So you can see its legs right here. It's just like paddles of a boat. Caterpillars have 3 pairs of true legs on the front part of their bodies, but their long bodies need extra support, so they also have several pairs of stubby legs and back to help them cling to stems and leaves. These false legs are called prolegs. Caterpillars loop along, grasping stems with their front legs or true legs, before drawing their bodies up into a loop to hold on with their hind legs or prolegs. Only adult insects have wings, and some insects don't have wings at all. If an insect does have wings, they're located on the insect's middle section, or thorax. Wings allow insects to move quickly from place to place, and they are surely one reason insects have survived in such large numbers for so many years. Insect wings may look very different from one another, but a network of veins support each wing. When it's quiet at night, especially in the summertime, you may hear an interesting chirping noise coming from insects outside. That sound may be a cricket. Crickets' wings have veins. The veins of a male cricket's wings are thicker and shaped differently from many other insects. You'll learn more another day about how a cricket uses its wings to make its unique chirping sound. I think we have all heard them chirping before. So far, we've looked at an insect's head and its thorax. Every insect body is made up of 3 sections. Do you remember the name of the third section? The third section and the largest section is called the abdomen. Do you have an abdomen? Yes, you do. Your abdomen is your belly. Like an insect, your abdomen is where you digest your food or break it down so your body can use it to grow and stay healthy. An insect's abdomen is also the part of its body where the female produces eggs. The abdomen is also where insects breathe. Like you, insects need oxygen from the air to live. They do not have lungs, and they do not take in air through their noses or mouths. Instead, if you look closely at this cricket's abdomen, you will see a line of tiny holes along its side. That is where insects take in air containing oxygen to breathe. So if you look at its side, you can see small holes where it goes in. So what makes an insect an insect? Well, it has 3 body parts, head, thorax, and abdomen. It also has 6 legs, and most insects have wings. But that's not all. All insects are invertebrates, meaning they have no backbones. Instead of having skeletons inside their body like you, insects wear their skeletons on the outside. Does anybody remember what that outside skeleton is called? These waterproof exoskeletons, made of a tough, flexible material called chitin, protect the insect's soft insides like a suit of armor. Just like your backbone and bones, an insect's exoskeleton is the thing to which the insect's muscles attach. So it's like their armor, like a knight. Here's a picture of another one of my cousins. We cockroaches were around long before the dinosaurs. I think our thick exoskeletons may have something to do with our long survival, don't you? Next time the narrator of the read aloud will be an insect that holds its front legs together in a prayer position. What do you think that might be? She'll tell you how insects grow from tiny eggs into adults. Be prepared to be amazed. So it holds its front legs together in a prayer position. See if you can think of it before you hear the next read aloud. Thank you.